For the past year, I've been working in my spare time to convert all of my family's home videos that have been sitting in bins untouched for nearly 30 years at this point. And since I got married back in August and my sister got married the month after that, things have just been quite different for my parents. So I decided to take on the task of converting all the family tapes into a digital format so we can all spend this Christmas looking back on all the memories we made growing up, as well as just giving my parents the ability to watch these videos whenever they want. Now, there are companies out there that do specialize in converting tapes, but the reality is that when you have multiple bins full of various types of tapes from VHS to mini DV, it's just going to cost you a fair amount of money. Not only that, you have to rely on a mail carrier to deliver your tapes safely, which wasn't a risk I was willing to take, considering family videos are just not something you can replace even if they get lost or stolen. So to save money and not lose my tapes in the mail, I decided to convert all the family videos at home, which I will tell you saves a ton of money if you have a bunch of tapes like I did, but it's gonna take a fair amount of time to do, which is why I've been working on several tapes at a time throughout the entire year. I'll be showing you all the gear I use to convert these tapes, as well as how the process works, so you can get started yourself if you want to convert all your family tapes to digital format at home. There are simply three things you need. You'll need the digital converter, which I'll talk about in just a moment, a flash drive or an SD card to store the files, as well as a media player that's compatible for each specific type of tape that you have. You'll want to check and see what style of tapes you have, because there are several variations that were made back in the day. Me personally, I had 4 different types of tapes to convert, which means I needed different types of media players in order to properly play the tapes. If you have your standard VHS or VHS-C tapes, these are going to be the easiest to convert because all you need is just a VCR player. Now, the VHS-C tapes are going to need an adapter in order for you to properly play them, which you can purchase one of these adapters on Amazon. This one in particular worked best for me, and it has a battery-operated motor inside to properly secure the tape in the adapter. If you have tapes like the mini DV or a high 8 tape, then you're gonna need camcorders that are compatible with these style tapes, because there's no dedicated media player on the market to play back these tapes that I know of, and if there is one, I'm sure it is not cheap by any means. The camcorders themselves do give you the ability to play back the tapes just like a VCR player, so you'll need to find a working camcorder in order to convert these style tapes. Now, if you don't have a VCR player or you don't have any of the working camcorders that can support the various tapes you might have, this is where you're just going to need to start shopping around online or at your local thrift store to find them. The good news is that there are plenty of them on the market in working condition, but the question is just how much you might have to spend on all this gear. To be honest, the cost you might spend for a VCR player or a camcorder that's compatible with the tapes you have is going to vary based on where you buy it, who you buy it from, because right now, like on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, just one camcorder that uses mini DV could cost you $50 to $100, but there are some listed for more than that at around $200 working condition. My setup, for example, is valued at around $500, which does include the digital converter, but if you already have the VCR player or the camcorder sitting around that can convert all your tapes, then you won't have to spend that much money to get started. Just know that what you may have to spend is going to vary depending on what tapes you have, what media players you already own that still work, and what you still need to convert everything. But let's say it does cost you $500 to buy everything. Isn't that what you're going to already spend going through companies such as Legacy Box? For my particular case, I had over 50 tapes to convert, and looking at some of the various prices online, I found I was going to be spending an average of about $15 to $20 a tape if I wanted to go through one of these service providers. So it would have costed me $750 to $1,000. That doesn't even include the shipping costs. So I did save around $250 to $500 converting everything myself. I will say that services like Legacy Box are worth considering if you only have like a handful of tapes, such as 10 tapes or 20 tapes, because it would be cheaper than going out and buying all the equipment if you don't already have that gear laying around. The other benefit to consider is if you don't have the time to sit down and convert these tapes yourself, then these service providers might be your best bet if you're someone looking to get the tapes converted in a short amount of time. But let's assume you do have the time and you already have all the equipment to play the tapes you have, then the only thing left to get is the digital converter, and this is the one that I used. It's manufactured by a company called ClearClick. It's their Video 2 digital converter, and for $160 brand new, if not a little bit less than that, this is all you need to convert the tapes digitally. It has a built-in 3.5-inch display with built-in audio so you can watch and listen to the tapes in real time. and the converter also gives you the ability to store your footage on either a flash drive or an SD card. But what I really liked about this converter is just how user-friendly it is. The buttons on the face of the converter are self-explanatory, and how you set up the converter is simple as well. In front of me is everything I've mentioned already. We have the ClearClick converter along with a USB drive and a VCR player to play this tape of my family when we visited Disneyland back in the early 2000s. Now, back in the day, in order to have audio and video, they used these color-coded cables known as AV jacks, which you would plug into the ports like so on the back of the VCR. The yellow cable indicated your video signal, while the red and white cables indicated your left and right audio signals. If you're converting tapes through a camcorder, you'll have other variations of the AV jack cables like this one, so just keep in mind you may have to purchase these cables separately if you don't have them already. I'll have links in the description down below. Once you have everything connected like so, you'll see a blue screen appear on the video converter. I'm going to go ahead and format the flash drive so it's ready to use with this converter. I'm also going to go into the menu and select how long I want to record for, because most tapes range between 1 to 2 hours, if not a little bit longer than that, so I just like to keep it at the longest record setting possible so I don't miss anything on each tape. From there, go ahead and insert your tape into the VCR player and press play to start the tape. As soon as you do this, I also like to go ahead and start the recording. As you can see, I now have the capability to check and make sure both the audio and video from the tape is working. I just simply let the tape finish through and transfer the flash drive to the computer afterwards. Now, I played it safe by storing everything on an external hard drive, as well as labeled every tape I converted to make sure everything was simple to find later on. One thing I also did, if you want to clean up the tapes a little bit nicer, is I brought each tape into a video editing software and cropped the ends accordingly, so that way you could start the video without any interruptions, because otherwise you're just going to have this dreaded blue screen in the beginning and the end. Again, it's an extra step you don't have to take, but it did make finding each video I wanted to watch much easier. So was spending the past year converting all the family tapes worth the time and savings? Personally, I say yes, because while it does take a lot of your time and effort, what I personally found that I really enjoyed was I got to watch tapes of my childhood that I'd never seen. I never knew they existed. I never knew I did some of the things that I did when I was a kid. That's how clueless I am. But I also discovered a lot of tapes from the family that my grandfather took when he was in the Navy, flying his favorite airplane that he was assigned to during World War II. Now, those clips used to actually be on 8mm film, but I found out my uncle converted all the 8mm film to VHS back in the 80s, so we have family tapes that go as far back as the early 1930s, which was really neat to see, and I was blown away by the experience, so definitely I enjoyed every minute of it. If you're interested in converting all of your family tapes yourself, I'll have links in the description below for you to check out. And thanks to ClearClick, who is sponsoring today's video, if you want to save some money on this exact video converter that they offer, simply go to clearclick.com and use the promo code Kendall. You'll receive 10% off your purchase. This is a limited time offer, so don't wait too long if you want to take advantage of this deal. Again, use the promo code here on the screen to receive 10% off. And thank you again, ClearClick, for sponsoring this video. I hope this has been helpful to you, and if you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe for more photo and video content coming soon to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.